Hey. Look at somebody next to you and say, I am so glad I'm sitting next to you. Yeah. It's a good night to be here. So many of you know that I'm like a dad, right? I have 2 kids. And I tell you, I used to listen to other parents talk, and I thought, y'all are idiots, okay? Have you heard some of the stuff that comes out of parents' mouth? And then you become a parent, and weird, stupid stuff starts coming out of your mouth. Like I go into the room, and my daughter's doing something she's not supposed to do, and all of a sudden, I start, nah. And I'm like, wait, I just said a whole sentence of like not real words. Like, where did that even come from? And I was like, I sound stupid. And then this other thing happens. The kids, okay, you can't just say to a child, stop it. You have to say, stop it, 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 stop it. They don't hear one, okay? I mean, I'll come in, I'm like, put that down, put it down, put it down, put it down, down, put it down, put it down, put it down, down, put it down, put it down, put it down. Okay, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, this is my life now. Just stop it, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. Okay, and I'm like, I know you heard the first one, and I'm like, I sound just like those parents that you always have to repeat yourself and do all that. So I'm going to repeat myself a lot tonight. Okay, I'm going to repeat something over and over again. Look at the person next to you and say, drop it. Look at somebody else and say, let go. That's right, because that's what we're going to talk about. Now, some of you are wondering what this weird thing is over here, okay? And you'd be right to wonder. It is a little bit strange. So there's this interesting thing that some people discovered that were trying to capture some monkeys, okay? And there's some hunters, they were trying to capture them. And so what they would do is they would take a coconut and they would cut it in half. They would hollow it out, okay? And they would put an orange inside, attach it back together. On one side, they'd attach a rope, and they cut a tiny hole just big enough for a monkey to get his hand inside. So he would go in, and he would get his hand inside, and then he would grab the orange, okay? And then your hand won't come out, okay? And so then this monkey is sitting here trying to get his hand out, but he wants the orange so bad, he will not let go of the orange. And so then all the hunters do is they walk in with a net and they throw it on top of the monkey, and they've caught him because he will not let go of that orange. It seems like such a simple thing, okay? As long as he's holding on to that, he cannot get his hand out. He has to let go to get his hand out. So my question for you, and I'm going to ask it a bunch of different ways, is this right here. What are you holding on to that's holding you back? What are you holding on to that's holding you back? Because all of us, at least at times in our life, have things that you are holding on to, and you maybe don't even realize it, but it's holding you back. Like it's keeping you from going somewhere because you're holding on to this thing. And I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that may be keeping you back from. Some of you, there's a reason that you have never really found like peace. You're always stressed out. It's like something is holding you back from actually getting peace in your life, or having joy or being happy. Some of you, there's something holding you back from like getting some good friends in your life. Like there's something that's happened, there's something that you're holding on to that's keeping you from getting those things. So what are you holding on to that's holding you? Here's another way I might say it. What is slowing you down because you won't put it down? Like there's something maybe in your life that it's slowing you down. Maybe you're moving, but you're not moving very fast because there's something that you haven't been willing to put down. Maybe your relationship with God, like you've grown one time and then it just seems to stalled out. It just seems to not going anywhere because there's something that you need to put down. Maybe there's some purpose in your life that you tried to go for and tried to do, and every time you start to do it, you don't get there because there's something that you need that's slowing you down that you need to put down. Maybe it's not just a what. Maybe it's who are you holding on to that's holding you back. And this one's a little bit harder because sometimes like you're trying to do something and you're finally making progress, and then there's some people. Like you're going to stop doing this thing. And then there were some people and that you're holding on to. And because of those people that you're holding on to, you just can't seem to let go of this other thing. You can't seem to get over this hump. You're starting to maybe get closer to God. You're starting to pursue that. And every single time there's something that seems to drag you back. And maybe it's a what, but maybe it's a who, okay? So let me just ask it like this. I'm telling you to say it a lot of ways, okay? Here you go. What is making a monkey out of you? Okay, and now this is not like, okay, literally, this happened last night. I'm writing this message and thinking about what I'm going to say. I go into the kitchen and my daughter is in there, and she goes, I'm going to be a cat and you're going to be a monkey. And so then she starts going, meow, be a monkey. So I have to go, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm in my kitchen. This is what happens when you have children. I'm telling you, you do dumb things. And so now I'm like, that's not what I mean. Okay, here's the thing. When you heard the story about the monkey, you're thinking, stupid monkey, right? All you got to do is let go. Okay, how stupid are you, monkey? Okay, and there is probably somebody in your life looking at you going, how stupid are you? How long are you going to stay in that relationship that is so toxic? Why won't you just let go? How long are you going to keep that bad habit that is just doing all that stuff to you? How long are you going to keep doing that same thing? How long are you going to stay mad over what he did 5 years ago? How long are you going to be mad? You're like, uh-oh. Yeah, how long are you going to let that stay in your... There's somebody looking at you going, stupid monkey, let go. Okay, does that sound mean? But they are, and you do it in other people, don't you? You look at people and you're like, why are they doing that? Why won't they let that go? Why won't they let him go? Because there is some stuff. Let me just go back to just this one thing right here. What do you need to let go of? That's the easiest way I can say it. What do you need to let go of? Look at the person next to you and say, let it go. You can sing it if you want to, yeah. I heard it, like, everybody. Okay. Now, I have a 3-year-old, trust me, I know that song. Okay, all too well. So, what do you need to let go of? What do you need to let it go? Okay, so I'm just going to tell you what my hope is for you. That maybe there's something in your life that you've been holding on to, and it's been keeping you from going forward in some area. And tonight, you'll let it go. You didn't even come here expecting to do something like this. You're not even thinking about it. In fact, before you came, you might not even realize that the thing was holding you back. But if you'll just open up your mind for a few minutes and think, hey, is there something that I'm holding on to that's holding me back? You may discover something that's holding you back. And if you let go, guess what you are? Free. And that's a whole lot better than bound up and holding on to something. So we want to figure out what it is that we're holding on to. And decide, and you can decide, hey, I'm going to let it go. So I'm going to help you let go of some things. So I want to talk about 3 big things, and I'm going to do them really fast, but 3 big things that pretty much everybody deals with at some point in their life. So you probably are dealing with one of them. You may be dealing with all 3. Now, these are not the only things that you could be dealing with that you might need to let go of. And so maybe you hear these 3 and go, I'm not dealing with those, but I want you to at least listen. You can, right now, this is what Holy Spirit can do, this amazing thing. He can reveal to you what you need to let go of. But I'm going to give you 3 major ones that I think all of us deal with at some point that can help us figure out what we need to let go of. So here's the first one. You got to let go of your past. You got to let go of your past. Okay, so how many of you have at some point in your life driven a car? Anybody driven a car? Okay. How many of you drove a car without a license at some point? Oh, that's so scary. That's like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of people. Okay, yeah, I was just curious. That one has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. So how many of you have been in a car? Okay, you've been in a car? Okay, that's everybody. Okay, that's a stupid question. Okay, now here's a good question. Here's a question for you. The rear view mirror in your car, how big is that? Like this, okay? Yeah, about this big. Okay, so this is the last stupid question about cars, okay? Which is bigger, the rear view mirror or the windshield? Okay, reason that is, it is much, much more important that you are looking at what is this way than what is behind you. If you focus too hard on the rear view mirror, you're gonna be in trouble. In fact, see, here's the rear view mirror is a lot like how we should handle our past. You glance at it every now and then to see where you've been. Maybe to see if there's something that could cause you some harm. But for the most part, it's a glance and you focus on what is coming. One time I was driving and there was this guy who was like tailing me and doing that. You know, I guess if you're like me, like sometimes when I'm driving, I have a hard time remembering that I'm a Christian. And I have to like tell myself that. This actually happened. I got cut off at the parking lot over there by Grumps the other day, and this lady literally had to slam on my brakes because she was cutting me off to get a parking spot. And I wanted to stop, and I was like, I'm going to stop. I'm going to tell her what's up. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm a Christian. And so I had to keep going. So I'm driving, and there's this guy in my rearview mirror, and he's like right on my tail. And I'm like, I'm driving 5 over the speed limit. What do you want me to do? And I'm just staring at this guy in my rearview mirror. And finally, he changes lanes, you know. And so I look back forward, and right when I look forward, I realize that the highway has stopped. And so, I slammed as hard as I can. The car's doing that anti-lock brake thing, and it's like sliding, and I'm like scared, and I stopped right before. And I didn't have an accident, but it was so close. And the reason I almost had that was because I was focusing on what was behind me and not what was in front of me. You cannot go forward and be successful in that if you're always looking behind you. And it is so true in your past. If you are holding on to stuff that is in your past, it will keep you from going to where you're supposed to go. We have to not dwell and focus on the past. We have to learn to let it go. In fact, one of my favorite verses about our past is in the book of Isaiah, and it says this: forget the former things. This is Isaiah 43:18. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. Okay, that does not mean that you can't remember things that happened to you in your past. That you're like, oh, nope, can't talk about it, it's the past. Okay, that's not that extreme or silly. And what it says though, don't dwell on the past. That's where you're just staring at the rearview mirror, okay? That's not what you're supposed to do. It's made for a glance. And yeah, you're gonna remember things. You might talk about things. You're gonna have that, but you're not gonna lay in bed at night and go, oh, I wish I would have. Oh, what if I would have said yes? If only I had said yes. Oh, if only I had said no. If I had never met them. If I had never gone there. And you dwell and dwell and dwell. That does not help you move forward. So we don't dwell on the past. And then he keeps going and he gives us this thing. He says, see, I am doing a new thing. And this is really cool. God wants to do new things in your life. But they don't happen if you're dwelling on the past. In fact, then he says, see, now it springs up. It's happening. Do you not perceive it? Do you not see it? And which some of us will go, no, I don't see anything new. And I'll tell you why. Because you're looking in the wrong way. You're looking in the wrong direction. And then he gives us this beautiful metaphor about what he's trying to do. He says, I'm making a way in the desert and streams in a wasteland. In the desert and a wasteland, these are barren places where if you get lost, if you don't find food, if you don't find water, you die. And he's saying, hey, I'm making a way so you can know where to go. And streams, that means that's life, that's water, okay? And so he's representing your life. Hey, I'm making streams in your life. I'm bringing good things in your life. But who is it for? The one that's going to not dwell on the things of the past, that lets them go. And there's so many things we got to do with that, but here's one of them. You even have to let go of past good things. Okay, it's great that you passed math last year, okay? But if you're not passing this year, let's stop talking about how good you did last year. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta focus on now. Now that might be a stupid thing, but I hear people all the time, they're talking about what they did before and they're not doing anything now. Oh yeah, I did this great thing, I did this cool thing, and they're not doing anything. Here's one that I see a lot. They talk about the friends they used to have and they're not making any new friends. Their friend moved, their friend went to a new place, new school, whatever, and they just, I used to have this, we used to do, and all they do is dwell on what they used to have, and they don't move on, and they don't get new things because they're so focused on what was before. Listen, I love to think about great things that have happened. I love to think about the fun things that I've done with my kids, but I don't want to just have the past things. I want new things. I'm not going to focus so hard on what we used to do that I don't get to do new things. And so you got to let go sometimes even of those things. Those can't be our focus. We got to focus on what God's doing now. And you especially have to let go of past hurts. If you hold on to the hurts in your life, it will anchor you down and keep you from going forward in areas of your life. I had a friend, a very close friend, who had been dating a guy for a long time, and when he broke up with her, as expected, she was very, very hurt, okay? It was a very hard time in her life, and that's normal. And you would have expected that, she would have gone through a grieving time for, a few weeks. But after a few months, she still was not better and was still just in this bitter, depression and sadness in her life. And I was a close friend, so I was talking to her and trying to figure out what was going on. And I discovered that every night she would listen to their song. And she would read their old letters that they wrote each other. And she would just dwell, this is what she's doing. She was dwelling on what she had lost. And you kind of hear that and you're like, that's dumb, okay? And I'm sitting there, my song, okay? Seriously, really, that's what you're doing? Come on, we do stuff like this. We replay what they did to us over and over in our head. And we get mad again every single night when we're laying in bed and we're thinking about what they did. And here's the truth. I know that some of you have been really, really hurt. And I don't want to act like this is no big deal. Because some of you have been abused by people, mistreated by people, hurt by people. But here's the thing. As long as you are holding on to that, you're continuing to allow that hurt to keep you from moving forward in what God has for you. You have to decide, I am going to let go. And when you let go, you become free of that. Sometimes we're weird. I don't know why this is, we even like it that we're hurting. You're like, no, I don't. I hate it. Yes, for some reason we think, yeah, oh, it's so bad for me. You know what they did? I got to tell everybody. I got to make it seem so bad. I got to feel bad about myself. And for some reason we think we like feeling bad about what happened. Listen, it is so much better to be free. You got to let go of your past hurts. I could say your past mistakes. You got to if you've done stuff wrong, then this is kind of similar to this, but it's a little different. It's your own fault this time. You got to let it go. You got to move on. So let's talk about past. You got to let go of your past. So what about, I said there's 3. Here's the next one. The next one is probably the hardest one, and it's one we talk about all the time. And the reason we talk about it all the time is because it's so hard to do. Nobody wants to do it. And so we're going to tell you what it is. You got to let go of wrong friends. And I really kind of had a hard time with this word wrong. I went back and forth between different words because a lot of time what we think of is bad friends. You got to let go of bad friends. And bad friends would certainly be wrong friends. But a bad friend might be somebody that hurts you all the time. That puts you down and makes you feel bad about yourself. And I've had those friends, okay? Those are some people that you need to let go of. It could be friends that are always getting you to compromise on what is right and they're pushing you to do. Those might be bad friends. But sometimes they're just wrong friends. And what I mean by that, they may not be a bad person. They may not be intentionally causing you harm. But what they are doing is they are anchoring you down to something that you don't want. And for some reason, whatever that is, your relationship with them is keeping you from moving forward. It might be keeping you from pursuing God or keeping you from getting into your purpose or doing whatever it is that you are supposed to be doing. But it's because of those friends that you need to let them go. And so now, if you were at the relationship series, we read this verse and we spent a whole night on this verse, so I'm only going to spend like 30 seconds on it tonight. But it so makes sense, okay, for what we're talking about. That it says, this is 2 Corinthians 6:14, don't be yoked together with unbelievers. Now, if you weren't here, a yoke is the thing that they would attach 2 animals together. And the whole thing is, if you got like a fast animal and a slow animal, that fast animal should not be attached to this slow one, this little one that's weak, because this one's just going to drag that one back, and it's going to do more harm than it is good. And so this is essentially what we're saying, what happens in your life, is that your friends determine the direction and quality of your life. If you have people that are like this in your life, they are going to determine the quality of your life. It's only going to go so far. You're only going to get so close to God. You're only going to do so many things because you are tethered, you are attached to somebody that you need to let go of. They're going to affect your direction. They're going to affect your quality. So I want to help you. I want to give you 3 things to ask yourself. And you can even do it right now. You can write them down, do it later, to determine if maybe you have someone in your life that you need to let go of. Okay, here's 3 things you can ask yourself, and they're pretty obvious if it's what you need to do based on these questions. Are the people I spend most of my time with moving in the direction I want to go? So the people I'm spending most of my time with, are they going in the direction I want to go? If my life was going in the same direction as theirs, spiritually, maybe with my schooling, with my grades, with the way I treat my family, whatever it is, is their life going in the direction I want to go? If it is not, then it is probably somebody that I need to disconnect from in some ways. Not that I'm just like, done with you. You call them up, hey, I'm dropping you, okay? Like, we're done. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, hey, I'm going to start distancing my life from them. I'm going to spend less time with them. I'm not going to, anyways, I'm going to distance myself from them. Here's a couple of other really important questions. Do I have to pretend to be somebody different than who I am? If you're with some people and you have to pretend, here you go. They're telling a joke and you're laughing. And you're thinking, I don't like that's not funny. Okay, that's dirty. Okay, no. And you pretend and you're nodding like, and you're thinking, no, okay? And you have to kind of pretend to be different than who you are. You have to pretend to be different than who God's called you to be. That's a really big sign that this is somebody that is holding you back. When you're having to pretend to be something different, that is a relationship that you need to reevaluate. That is a friendship that you need to reevaluate. Here's the last one. Do I feel pressure to compromise when I'm with them? Do I feel pressure to compromise? Now listen, certainly if when I'm with them I compromise, wrong friend, I'm not even saying you've even done anything wrong, but when you're with them, you just feel this pressure to do stuff that is compromising your beliefs. It's compromising what you know is true. That would be a red flag that it is a wrong relationship. And I don't have this one on here, but I was thinking about this, okay? If you consider me like your pastor or an important figure in your life, if I was to come hang out with you and that friend or those friends, and they didn't know who I was, okay, they didn't notice my hair was receding and they thought I was a teenager, okay? And we were all just hanging out, okay? And I heard the way that your friends talk when you're around them and the way that you talk when they're around them and what you do and what you act. Would you be embarrassed for me to be there? If that is the case with those friends, those are some people that are tethering you down to something in a place that you don't want to be. It's time to let some people go, maybe. That's between you and God, but I want you to realize you may need to look at some of those things. And here's the last one. We need to let go of the sin that you like. Now, I could have just said we need to let go of sin, but I wanted to make a point that there is some sin that you like sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't struggle with sin if you didn't like it. Like, there's this reason, that's the whole difficulty with sin. It's like, I kind of like that sin. That's why I would do that sin. And we need to realize that there is some sin maybe that you keep in your life. There are things that you know does not line up with what God has told you to do. And you keep it in your life because, well, I kind of like that. I kind of don't want to get rid of that. And listen, that will hold you back. If you hold on to some sin in your life, you will not get to the place that God wants you to be as long as you're holding on to something like this. And sometimes they all kind of go together. I had a girl in our youth group one time. She came up to me and she said, hey, I'm having trouble. I keep smoking pot. Okay? And I was like, okay. Who are you doing this with? And you know what? It turned out it was always the same person at the same person's house. She had somebody she needed to drop. And that was the key to dropping the other thing. And we look at ourselves and we're like, I don't want to let them go. I can't, they're my good friend, and we'll figure it out, and da-da-da. And then we end up holding on to this sin, or we end up holding on to this person, and it ends up causing us all these problems. But what we need to do is what this verse right here says, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. This is not a position to run. You have something that God wants you to do. He wants you to run. He has a race he has for you. He has great things for you to do. You have a purpose on your life. And as long as I'm holding on to the sin that easily entangles, it grabs us, it keeps us. As long as I'm holding on to it, I'm not going to get to where I'm supposed to be. And some of you, I could do a whole message on trying to give you all the different sins that you may be holding on to, but you know what it is. And so why don't you just think about that to yourself. If there's something that you're holding on to, like you're intentionally thinking, you know what, I'll deal with it later. So you look at other people's sin and you go, oh, you need to let go of that. And you look at yourself and you go, I'm dealing, I'm figuring it out. We're working through, that kind of thing. And what you need to do, you need to let go. You need to let go. Now, maybe none of these things were your thing. That's why I like this verse, because it says, throw off everything that hinders. Not just sin. You got something that's hindering you, and God can reveal all kinds of things to you. Some of them aren't even bad things. A few years ago, I was having my Bible study and prayer time, and I felt like God told me, no more phone games. Now, I'm not telling you can't have phone games. This was me and God only, okay? Now, and so he said, no more phone games. And this was right before our daughter was born. And I deleted all my phone games. And I realized later why that was so important at this season of my life. Because here I would, at the time, anytime I had free time, I was, seeing if I could kill their base with my dragons. And Clash of Clans and all that kind of stuff. I was playing my games all the time. And I didn't want to be doing that while I'm sitting there with my child who's discovering the world and letting this distract me from what I should be doing. It's just a season where that's not right for me. And maybe it'll come back and I'll get into clan again, and who knows? Probably not. Here's the thing, it was something that was just hindering what God had for that season of my life. Is there anything wrong with phone games? No. It was just not right for me. What God wanted is hindering me. So I don't know what might be hindering what God wants to do in your life, but it's time to let some stuff go. And maybe you have something in your past that's really hard for you to let go. You can decide, I am going to let it go. I'm going to be free of that. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to let that not be a part of my life anymore. Some of you, every time we talk about friends and that whole thing, you kind of go, but I'm going to be alone. I'm going to be this. Come on. You will find freedom if you'll finally let go. And maybe you've got that sin, you've got that thing, you just keep it in your life. Let it be free. Drop it. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to end with a chance for you to pray. And maybe it's one of these things, maybe it's something else. But if you have something that you need to let go of, this is what I want to ask you to do. I want you to go back and pray, but I'm going to ask you maybe to do something weird. You don't have to do this. This is what I would do. When you're telling the person what's wrong, what you've been holding on to, I would even encourage you just to hold your hands like in a fist, like you're holding that thing. And as they begin to pray, just open your hands and believe that in that moment you're going to let go and just give it to God. It's His. That thing that person did to me, I'm done holding on to it. I'm not going to bring it up anymore. It's gone. That hurt, that's gone. That sin that I've been letting just stick around, it's gone. And decide, I'm free. I'm going to run. I'm not going to be a monkey. I'm going to be free.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, leave a comment down below or hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.